Hi everyone, Mrs. Rocktis here. I'm going to show you a few watercolor techniques, and I have already taken out all my ingredients. So you would need your paint, some salt, this is rubbing alcohol, water, and you should have plenty of it, paper, of course, watercolor paper specifically, a Sharpie, white crayon, a toothbrush, brush, and paper towel. Alright, so first thing I did was I took my paper and I traced some circles on it and labeled them, as you can see here. And what you're going to do is fill in these circles with the techniques. And as you can see, I already started the dry brush. And you have to do that first before you can do dry brush in order to demonstrate what it is, that technique. But I am going to start with the salt. And here we go. So of course, you don't want to mix up your alcohol with the water. Make sure that you dip your brush in, get it soaked, and it doesn't really matter what color you start with. Okay. Carefully paint. And you have to make sure you have enough water there for the salt to absorb. And it's okay to get outside those lines a little bit. I'd like to add a little bit more water. And then you're going to take and you're going to sprinkle your salt. And you can see how the paint gets absorbed by the salt. And that's one technique. The other is crayon resist, where you take a crayon, and it could be actually any color, but I choose white. And you got to press down a little bit and mark that spot where the paint will resist the crayon. Okay, and again, pick a color. I'm going to pick blue this time. And paint over it. And you can see where I marked my paper with crayon. My next technique is bleeding or wet on wet, where you take two different colors, so we'll just stick with the blue and the green, and you're basically going to let them collide into each other. So here's my beautiful blue. And again, making sure that you have enough watery painted areas. And you're going to combine them, and then it's almost like tie-dye if you think about it. And you push it into each other to create that wet on wet. And one more that I'm going to show you is the tissue blotting. And this is where the paper towel comes in. And I'm going to stick with blue. Add a little bit more watery area. So you take your paper towel or something that you know you can absorb some of this paint with, and it leaves a slight mark when you pick it up. And if you are really ambitious, you can leave it there overnight, and you can really see the difference that it makes. And here you go. That's 4 techniques right there. All right, moving on, we're going to now do that dry brush technique. As you can see, I already painted and let this spot dry. And in order to do a dry brush, you don't need tons of water, but you do need obviously a wet brush. And you go into the paint. And this is where you are actually just painting on top of whatever is dry. And this is dry brush. You can get great detail out of this. Okay, that's dry brush. The next technique, I know a lot of students love this, is splattering with a toothbrush. So what you do is you put the toothbrush into the water and get into the paint, and I'll use orange this time. It can be messy, but I know students love it. And basically, you are splattering. That's the beauty of splatter. Okay, and then the last technique, or one of the last techniques, is the alcohol, but unfortunately I didn't label it. So, what you do is you're gonna paint again. And do that here. Oh. And then we dip our brush in the alcohol, and there you go. Creates a really cool effect with that. And then I'll get more into the pen and watercolor in a moment. Okay, the very last circle that we're going to fill is the pen and watercolor. And I'm going to choose purple. So with pen and watercolor, you can easily paint on top of a dry watercolor. But with this, I'm choosing to paint around it. And you'll understand in just a moment what I mean. And I think that's it. So once this is dry, a nice thing to do is, this is a nice technique, to just go around. Okay, it's pen and ink, or watercolor I mean. Or here you go, we can use this as a sample too, where you can just take your pen and go right on top of the watercolor. As long as it's dry, that's your main thing. It has to be dry. And there you have it.